Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, Monday, May 22nd, 2017.
Commissioner Rivas, Repenning, James, Davis, and assent to our President. President James, we have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, John Weimer, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Gary Lee Moore, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Enrique Zaldivar, Bureau of Sanitation.
Good morning, Ed Ibrahimian, Street Lighting.
Good morning, Nazario Salceda, Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Good morning, Dr. Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we have no speaker cards under general public comment. We have no commentary under the Neighborhood Council comments section. We did receive speaker cards on items number 3 and 4.
Okay, thank you. We will close general public comment as well as the Neighborhood Council category of commentary. And we will begin this morning with a very special guest, our former Board of Public Works Commissioner and current Deputy Mayor of the Mayor's Office of City Services, Barbara Romero, is here to introduce him. Good morning.
Good morning. Glad to be here in my old stomping grounds and see so many familiar faces. It is my honor to be here and introduce our 42nd Mayor, Eric Garcetti, who has really prioritized the Back to Basics agenda. Under his leadership, we've paved more streets. We're actually improving our sidewalks. We launched our Clean Streets program, and we are, more importantly, we're using, under his leadership, technology to broaden and to make our city services better for all Angelenos. So it is my honor to introduce Mayor Eric Garcetti.
Thank you. It's always nice to be applauded by people you appoint. just kidding.
Mr. Mayor, we won't put the 2-minute time limit on.
But I appreciate it. Thank you. If I could ask for an extension of my time, just this one time. And excuse my back, everybody. I am addressing the board, but speaking to all of you in the public today. And thank you, President James, to all the commissioners for your leadership, our great general managers, folks who I've grown up with around here, people who I've worked with in the community, in my office, here, building and doing great things. A lot of people might not find Public Works Week sexy and exciting, but we do. This is an amazing week to just pause, almost like a college application essay, one of those requirements where you have to, for a moment, summarize everything you've done, everything that you are, and everything you hope to be, and try to do it in a compressed moment in time. And to Commissioner Rivas, welcome our newest commissioner. Great to have you here as well. I've worked with some folks as short as a couple months and some people as long as 16 years. But it's true as Deputy Mayor Romero, and thank you for the introduction. Thank you for the frame. I came in and this was the place I really wanted to do my work. I remember talking to Kevin James when we were both campaigning, and I talked about if we could get the little things done, which people thought was a low bar initially. I said, if it's such a low bar, why hasn't it been done? It's actually the toughest work, is the detail work. It is the woman who needs that sidewalk fixed. It is the person who has an issue with their sewer line. It is somebody who feels unsafe walking home because they don't have the lighting that they need. It is the whole host of things that we do here and the future that we chart together. And thanks to your tireless work, I think we have really shown that public works and basic services matter, that they can be done, that we can accomplish the core services that were gutted in many ways during the recession. As Deputy Mayor mentioned, we, I think, are proudest of and always brag about the miles of roads that we've paved. And now, the last time I gave a speech, it was enough to get from Los Angeles to Mumbai, our sister city halfway around the world. It must be in Pakistan by now because we have, I know, been busy at work paving more streets in the few days we haven't had rain this year. We really revolutionized the street light. It's one of the things we most proudly talk about, that a utility has been turned into what used to be a single blade is now a Swiss Army knife of possibilities of boosting our cell phone coverage and plugging in electric cars and looking at ways to take this energy from the sun. And it's a real great way of thinking about how we do city services. People used to think of it as highly specialized. Now it is no longer a vertical entity. It is really a horizontal one. We have raised the minimum wage and banned the box and looked at ways that we can, out of this Public Works Commission, actually make sure that people's wages aren't stolen. This department will help recover economic justice and close the disparity we have in the city for thousands of people. And the example we set will be for millions. Instead of now waiting a week to get your fridge picked up on your curb, a bulky item request gets resolved in a single day. We're putting thousands of trash cans out there. And I got a couple more that I was told about this weekend. Western and Expo are overflowing. So we'll add some more there, I think. I'm your mayor, always working on the little things too. And whether you live in Silmar or San Pedro, we now make sure your service is provided equally. We've been open in sharing our data. I know that's a tough thing to ask of general managers sometimes, but when we do, even when it embarrasses us, it makes us better because it shows us things maybe we as the general managers or executive directors didn't know, things that we didn't know as mayor, and we get to fix it. And then a couple months later say thank you to a participatory democracy that includes the press, includes the public, includes our neighborhood councils as well. But let's keep pushing the envelope. This week, let's not just celebrate where we've come from and what we've done. Let's see what we can do. The $31 million we're going to fix crack sidewalks with in this upcoming year, more than ever before. And we're going to spend every single dollar of it. Funding request to get rid of our graffiti requests in a single day, something that when we were at CD13 we were proud to do with UNTAG. The 1,250 new trash cans will roll out this year on top of the 2,500 that we've done. And as was mentioned, our Clean Streets program, which, I mean, it's getting written up in magazines and journals and other places that shows that we can target the right resources to the right block. And at the end of the day, I really count on all of you, the residents, to hold us accountable, to tell us what we're not doing. But LA doesn't settle, and Public Works doesn't settle. We are always pushing forward. Building new bridges, literally, as well as metaphorically. Revolutionizing our waste hauling system in a way that will have a lot of growing pains, but will be the right thing to do. But make sure that we can communicate in these times of change, why and how we can divert 1 million tons of waste from our landfills, something we have to do by 2025. And it's not a question in this town of if we grow, it's how we grow. And you might think that that's just something for the planning department, but it's really something for the Public Works department. I think constituents always tell us, how can you say yes to any more unit of housing if we don't think about the infrastructure? Well, the truth of the matter is we need both. Every unit of housing we don't build assigns people to high rents, but every bit of infrastructure we don't match means that those additional units will tax already overtaxed infrastructure. So the proof's in the pudding. The lowest unemployment we've ever had, the most visitors we've ever had. People want to be here. I just went to the opening of our newest museum this weekend, which I recommend to everybody in here. Here's your mayor's tip for the week, to go to the new Marciano Foundation collection in the old Wilshire Boulevard Masonic Temple. It is gorgeous. And as I talked to people who came from around the world and around the country, so many of them said, you're so lucky to be mayor of this city. You're so lucky to live here. And I know I feel that way every day. I hope that you feel that way every day. So keep investing in our core city services, and anything is possible. And with that, Mr. President, today I get to present you a certificate, a framed proclamation. Here it is for the public over here. National Public Works Week. And I hope that you live not just this week with that sort of spur, but take this week as a moment to reflect and to get inspired. And as I begin my second term, I know that I'm thinking about how I can bring the same energy to day one of my second term that I did to day one of my first term. And I hope that you guys live your terms as commissioners and your terms as general managers with that same sense of excitement, wonderment, and possibility each day. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Garcetti. There's no better way. No better way for us to start National Public Works Week than with your words this morning. And we will take just a brief recess for 3 photos, one with the board, one with our bureau heads, and one with all of us together. We'll be right back. Thank you, Mayor Garcetti. What a great way to start National Public Works Week here in the city of Los Angeles. Getting to our agenda items, is there a second to my motion that we approve the meeting minutes from the meeting of Friday, May 5th, 2017 by Commissioner Repenning? Any objection? Without objection, we will approve those meeting minutes. A couple of housekeeping items. Agenda items 3 and 4, Council District 14, above-ground facility ordinances, or above-ground facility hearings. Those will be continued 2 weeks. Mr. Executive Officer, is that 2 weeks to June 5th?
That is correct.
Okay, 2 weeks until June 5th for agenda items 3 and 4. And then agenda item number 1, Council District 5 above-ground facility variance, 3463 South Glendon Avenue, recommending that the board approve the request for a variance from the height limitation requirements of the above-ground facility ordinance pursuant to Los Angeles Municipal Code Section 6208 VB, and authorize Mobility LLC to install a 43-foot, 1-inch high steel monopole in the public right-of-way adjacent to 3463 South Glendon Avenue. On agenda item number 1, Mr. Ledoux.
Good morning. My name is Jeff Ledoux. I work for the Bureau of Engineering Central District. This is a mobility monopole, as I said, 43 feet, 1 inch tall, adjacent to a residential unit, 3463 South Glendon Avenue. It is in CD5, Paul Koretz. They are remaining neutral on this, and I have received no emails or phone calls one way or other on this particular application.
Any questions on agenda item number 1 at all? Any questions on agenda item number 1 in Council District 5? Is there a motion on agenda item number 1 by Commissioner Jacinto? I'll second it. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 1. Any issue sending number 1 forthwith? We'll send number 1 forthwith. Thank you, sir. Agenda item number 2, above-ground facility in Council District 9. Above-ground facility variance, 602 East 21st Street, recommending that the board approve the request for a variance from the height limitation requirements of the above-ground facility ordinance pursuant to Los Angeles Municipal Code, Section 6208 VB, and authorize Mobility LLC to install a 41-foot, 11-inch high steel monopole in the public right-of-way adjacent to 602 East 21st Street. Mr. Ledoux on number 2.
Once again, as I said, we have a mobility monopole approximately 42 feet above ground level. It is in CD9 in a residential area. It was originally applied for April 4th, 2016, and at that time CD9 objected to the design of the pole, which is a wood pole, and asked that we replace any of the wood design poles that were going in CD9 with a steel pole. Mobility did go to the, to the Cultural Affairs Commission, and they approved both a concrete and a steel pole design. And this particular site has been replaced with a steel pole, so CD9 is fine with moving forward with this. I've received no emails or phone calls pro or con on this application.
Okay. Any questions on number 3? I'm sorry, any questions on number 2? No questions on number 2. Commissioner Davis has made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 2. Any issue? Is there a second by Commissioner Jacinto? Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 2. Any issue sending number 2 forthwith? We will send number 2 forthwith. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Ledoux. Agenda item number 5. Participant agreement, Los Angeles Regional Imagery Acquisition Consortium data refresh project. There's a lot in this description, so let me read through it. Recommending that the board first adopt the report authorizing the city engineer to pay the County of Los Angeles for the acquisition of aerial imagery and associated products as a member of the county-wide LARIA C5 project. Is it LARIAC 5 project? Mr. Campos, how do we do that one? LARIAC 5, LARIA C5?
LARIAC 5.
LARIAC 5, thank you. Submit to the City Council this report and recommendations for their consideration. B, submit to the City Council the report and recommendations for their consideration as stated below. That the City Council, subject to the approval of the Mayor, 2A, authorize the city engineer or designee to execute the participant agreement with the county on behalf of the City of Los Angeles and pay to the county $705,995 for the acquisition of imagery and associated products from the countywide LARIAC 5 project. B, approve funding from the Development Services Trust Fund, number 58V, Department number 8, for participation in the countywide LARIAC 5 project and appropriate a total of $56,000 to a new account entitled LARIAC 5 project. C, approve funding in the amount of $54,995 from Fund Number 100, Department Number 78, Appropriation Unit 003040 for the Bureau of Engineering's participation in the countywide LARIAC 5 project. D, request the controller to transfer as soon as possible the following amounts from the DSTF, city departments, and bureaus identified below, totaling $705,995 from various departmental accounts to the new account in the Public Works Trust Fund, number 834, Department 50, entitled LARIAC 5 Project, so that the BOE can make full payment to the county for the LARIAC 5 project. The list is provided in the agenda item. To the Public Works Trust Fund, number 834, Department number 50, Appropriation Unit, to be determined $705,995. Number 3, request that all general managers or their designees of the various city departments and public works bureaus identified in recommendation number 2 above to complete the transfer of funds as soon as possible in coordination with the Controller's Office. Number 4, authorize the Controller to make any technical accounting corrections if necessary to effectuate the intent of the City Council action. And finally, number 5, authorize the city engineer or his designee to execute a letter of intent to participate in the next LARIAC phase on behalf of the city, approving in concept the city's participation in LARIAC 6 project, subject to subsequent council action and mayoral approval of funding for LARIAC 6. Mr. Vandergriff, good morning.
Good morning. Greg Vandergriff with the Bureau of Engineering, Land Development, GIS Division. So, as you're aware, we're requesting funding for the LARIAC 5 project. We've actually been participating in the LARIAC project since 2006 with LARIAC 1. I've also provided a handout which has a series of aerial photos that identify the type of uses that various departments have for this work. So some of that imagery includes emergency planning, such as when we were doing the May Day parades from May Day. From the imagery in 2006, 2008, 2010, 2014, you can see a history of what happens as development occurs in the city of Los Angeles. At our public counters, we often use the aerial imagery to identify requirements such as meeting the hillside ordinance, as well as other planning actions. And then another side is litigation, where the city attorney's office requires exhibits. We're able to prepare maps using that imagery. One of the advantages of the aerial imagery is it is our licensed information, so therefore we can use it for whatever the city purposes are. The imagery is actually scaled, so it lines up with our parcels and our data maps for all of our GIS databases. Therefore, we can overlay parcel lines, right-of-way lines, and view the topography in relationship to the actual property boundaries. Our funding for this project is $705,995. It's our portion of the work. The county is actually has this cost at $4.2 million, and so we're only paying the portion that's required for the city of Los Angeles. We do participate in a consortium of other cities as well as the county in acquiring this imagery. Are there any other questions?
Questions for Mr. Vandergriff on number 5. Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. Greg, thank you for the report. LARIAC 5, does it have a public interface, or is this sort of a back office type of thing? Can the public view this imagery, or is it just for the city?
This imagery is actually used on both the planning department's ZEMIS application as well as our own Navigate LA, which is viewed worldwide. Navigate LA has about 35,000 hits per day. And so this imagery is available for the general public anywhere in the world.
Excellent. Thank you.
Commissioner Repenning.
What is the source of the imagery?
I'm sorry,
What is
Commissioner?
the source of the imagery? Is it helicopters? Is it drones?
It's actually airplanes. This is actually aerial imagery where a plane flies over the city. They actually have certain specific marks that they line up the camera with, and that's how we pick up these frames and then tie it back to our geodatabase.
So we're not using images from drones at this point.
We're not using drones or satellites.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything further? Any further questions for Mr. Vandergriff? I don't have any questions. Commissioner Santos made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 5. I'll second it, along with Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 5. Any issues sending number 5 forthwith? We'll send number 5 forthwith. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 6, Council District 14, task order solicitation, Gruen Associates, Pershing Square, Renew Phase 1A. Recommend that the board authorize the city engineer to issue a sole source task order solicitation to Gruen from the pre-qualified on-call architectural consultants list to provide architectural design services with a budget authority not to exceed $1,500,000, which includes contingency. Mahmood, you stood up. I know that Mr. Singh is here as well, I believe. Go ahead, sir.
Good morning. Mahmoud Karimzadeh, Bureau of Engineering. As you know about the project, I'm just going through it. Please let me know if you have any questions. We are here to ask your authorization in order to issue a sole source task solicitation to Gruen Associates, which is a pre-qualified contractor architectural firm for the city of Los Angeles. They're going to provide architectural and engineering services for the Pershing Square for the not to exceed $1.5 million. Now, as you know, the Pershing Square is a very important hub of open space for our jewelry districts close to Civic Center. It's about 5 acres land, and through the history, it has gone through so many redesign. Started in 1866 as an open space, just a public square. But then 20 years later, actually city engineer provided a design for the first design for the square, Pershing Square. That was Frederick Eaton. And then throughout the next 20 years, 40 years, in 1910, an architect actually provided another design. And in 1951, this is notable, in 1951 is where they built a 4-story parking structure right below the park, and then they created the park on top of it. And then in 1994, it went through another design competition, and eventually by a Mexican architect designer, Ricardo Legorreta, went through another redesign. So in 2012, when the stakeholders who are residents and business owners and people who have basically interest and advocacy for the open space in the area, they get together, they met with the council office, and through the council offices, they thought that is another time for another design. So later that year, they created a Pershing Square task force. And throughout the next several years, in order to make this becomes a regular task for them, it became basically a formal organization known as Pershing Square Renew in 2014. In 2015, the Pershing Square Renew, with the leadership of the councilman who is our office, went and basically organized a international design competition for the park. And amazingly, 80 companies throughout the world participated. They were shortlisted in 10 companies and later to 4 companies in order to provide design. And then the 4 of them who provided the design concept were gone through a 9-member jury, and which 2 of them were, or several of them were from Recreation and Parks and Council Office, and a French firm, Agence Terre, was announced the winner. And then later on in that year, in 2016, they provided a presentation to Department of Recreation and Parks Board of Commissioners. Now, the sole source contract comes right after that. Since they were the winner of the design, they had few options in order to make a contract with City of Los Angeles. At one of the discussion with the firm winner, we provided a already public information, which is list of our pre-qualified architectural firm to them. And apparently what they did, which is independent process for them, they went through discussion with few of those 20 companies, 20 plus 12, 32 companies we provided them with, and they picked Gurun and Associates as an executive architect who they can contract this work through the contract they have with the city of Los Angeles. Now, the design is a design competition. Ideas and design intent is something that we don't know truly it could work. So sitting down with all the stakeholders, with the designers, recreation and parks, we have crafted a very careful path of basically design in order to reach the point that we see if the design intent could be truly done. So what we're going through first, as a first step, is to actually see and evaluate the existing condition of the whole area, especially that the parking structure is there since 1951, and everybody expects that if you do something differently, not only will be required by the code in order to bring the facilities up to the today's code, but also because of the additional loads or additional work, we might have to do something structurally, as well as mechanical and engineering and electrical engineering. So we're going to evaluate the existing condition very carefully. After that, in the second step, we're going to see that existing condition and see what kind of challenges that existing condition brings to the design intent that this design competition won the community's basically ideas of the open space for. So that when they go through these two very important phases, at the end they come with a report and will tell the city how carefully we can actually implement the design intent. Maybe some of the design intent has to be a little change or maybe truly doable, we don't know, but at that time they will provide us with a report that will tell us that, as well as the cost and the timeline for the work. So this work could be, at the end of the day, could be, I don't know, I'm just guessing just for information, could be $4 million, $5 million, $6 million worth of work, but at this point we're only going with the about $1 million, $50,000 worth of work in order to evaluate the situation. And the Department of Recreation and Parks will evaluate that as well in terms of operational needs, in terms of maintenance needs, and we carefully enter into the next step. What we know the next step, but we have not agreed or we have not negotiated with the company, is the fact that the first implementation of any construction activity would be those items that operational and maintenance-wise are a must and need for the recreation and parks. And those are the next step after this award. That will be doing those first and then be going through the basically rehabilitation of the rest of the park. Now, the fact that this is a sole source, we know that the minority businesses and women business enterprises were not in their mind because the independent firm, non-profit organization did this design competition. However, we are very fortunate throughout the discussion and a little work with the French companies and Gruen and Associates and other companies, we have a very good participation on women business enterprises. We have 5.8%, whereas the required participation level is only 4%. So that's a very nice percentage. In addition to that, there are a couple of companies within the team that are going to provide certification for themselves. They're women business enterprises, but they don't have certification. If they're certified, the level will be almost twice as much, will be close to 8%. What we're suffering now is minority business enterprises, which are very low. And because this design process is being divided between many steps, we're hoping that in this step, which is only verification of the design, we don't have that chance to bring new members into the team in order to bring that minority percentage participation level higher, but we have made that known to our Gruen Associates contract and other team members and the design winner, French companies, Agence Serre, that that's our intention. In the next step, they have to bring the minority business level to the acceptable level. With that, I'm almost done with my presentation. I'll be glad to answer any question you might have.
Okay, we'll start with Commissioner Repenning.
Thank you, Mahmoud. I have to say I am very excited and eager to see this project get underway. I think that Pershing Square is one of the most underutilized city-owned pieces of land that we have. I mean, you look at, we have parking underneath. It's literally right in the middle of downtown. And, I've spent time out there as a parent, and it's just not what it should be. And maybe it was what it was when it was built, but with everything that's happening downtown, we should be able to deliver a world-class park on that site. And I appreciate the innovation that engineering, Gary and Deborah, that you guys have brought through your use of design competitions with these sorts of facilities. So I'm all in favor of this. I hope that we can get to phase 2 quickly, and I hope that we're also able to figure out where the construction money is going to come from. I don't know if you have a sense of.
Well, the non-profit organization Pershing Square Renew has promised to do a lot of fundraising, and I have been involved with some of the effort they have tried to make. They have brought money in order to make the design competition. That was sizable money, but not anywhere close to construction money. So they're continuing with their efforts. But in meantime, the Recreation and Parks has provided this amount of money in order to realize if the design intent and how far we can go with this design intent. And that would be a next step that is very important for them also as a fundraising comes next.
Okay. Is there more Quimby available in this location? Do we know?
More money?
Quimby.
Oh, Quimby money. It's possible since the Quimby's money doubled through the council actions just recently, and also through the doubling the size of the area that the Quimby's money could be spent. So possibilities is there. However, at this time, we don't have any basically target.
Okay. I appreciate your comments about the subcontracting levels and that you are going to try to bring them up. Is Gruen an SBE or
They are themselves a minority business enterprise,
okay.
even
So
though it's not counted because they're prime, basically firm, but they're minority business. So it's nice to also note that.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
That's great.
Appreciate
That should be noted in the reports going forward, because I think that's something that we should be able to take credit for.
Sure.
I think it's important. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Repenning. Commissioner Davis.
Mahmoud, our goal today in this motion is to accept Gruen as the sole source, and they come off of our pre-approved list. Is that correct?
Correct.
And I am excited about the opportunity that, in fact, the residents in the area, or the stakeholders, if you will, were given an opportunity to select a contractor, a prime contractor, which happens to have been the Fritsch firm. And the purpose of today's vote is that Gruen will assist that firm, correct?
Correct. They're executive architects. That means all the design is provided by the French designers who won the competition,
Great.
while the drawings and construction drawings will be coordinated through Gruen and Associates team.
Great. So I'm pleased that they also happen to be diverse, but my expectation is that they will help the French prime contractor meet the performance goal. And I'm, again, excited that they happen to be diverse, but I do still think that it is important that they help the firm. I mean, and I think that that's their purpose. And the reason why they were selected was to do that. So I just want to go on the record to say our expectation is hopefully in the future we'll be able to do that too, and certainly this is a great project and we look forward to the support.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mahmoud. It seems to me, as I follow along, that the sole source circumstance is a little different, which I understand. It's helpful in the briefing, helpful today. And I guess I would like for the city attorney, Mr. Jordan, to just confirm for the record that the sole source aspect of this is satisfactory for the city attorney's office.
I've read through the report, and based on the presentation, we feel this is appropriate, compatible with the city's interest to sole source this aspect of the project. So
Okay.
we support the Bureau's recommendation.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Jordan. Commissioner Rivas?
I have a question. From what I understand is the design competition winner was given a list of pre-qualified firms that are on that list. And then what criteria are they given to select? They can select anyone on that list?
We were not involved with that at all because they could go to anybody else's. However, they chose to work with that list. We were happy because we have a contract with that list. So it saves us time. But they went apparently through a process independently. We were not involved, and they called few of those from the list. They discussed with them. I don't know to what lengths, but then they chose Gruen and Associates.
Okay, so then we're not involved, or the
At
Bureau's
all.
not involved at all.
Exactly.
So then the competition winner just comes back to you and says, this is who we want to work with.
Exactly.
And if it wasn't a firm that we already work with, then that firm would have to go through the process of becoming a vendor for us? Or?
Exactly.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivas. Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. Mahmoud, great. I'm so happy to see this project moving forward, sort of on a global scale, working collaboratively, our department, Bureau of Engineering, Gary, Deborah, yourself, Paul, Robert, and all the teams building and designing RAPS projects. That's great. That's a city family doing together and having all these site visits, whether it's the Greek Theater, and now the iconic Pershing Square is excellent. President James, thanks for asking that. That was a question I was going to ask too in terms of the sole source justification. That seems to be vetted, so we're ready to go. And we have a short time frame, so we got to execute and get this project going. And as Commissioner Repenning says, let's encourage Renew to raise that money for construction.
We are very excited.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mahmoud. We also have the benefit today, as the beginning of National Public Works Week, we had the city engineer here this morning. And Gary, just you're here often, regularly on these projects, but we happen to have you here today. Just wanted to get your thoughts on the record while you're here.
Yeah, I just want to thank you, but I'd also like to thank the General Manager of the Department of Recreation and Parks, Mike Scholl, for having the confidence in us because it's really a special project. And also Councilman Weezar, he's worked so passionately on this project, and it is special. And I know today we're joined by Mike Imamoto of Gruen and Associates, and they've been a great partner for us and somebody who's very much committed to outreach. And I echo when the report came to me, the team will tell you, I said, we've got to do more, we've got to do more, we've got to do more, because outreach is so important. And I feel very confident with Gruen there that they understand, and they don't do it because it's check the box, they do it because it's the right thing to do. And they're great leaders in grooming and working with smaller firms and nurturing them. So we're very happy to be here, and thank you for your consideration of this item.
Thank you. Anything further on agenda item number 6? Commissioner Jacinto's made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 6, seconded by Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 6. Any issue sending 6 forthwith?
Thank you.
We'll send number 6 forthwith. Thank you, Mahmoud, for
Thank
the
you.
additional explanation as well. Agenda item number 7, Council District 13, change order number 219, Los Angeles Police Department Metropolitan Division Police Project, recommending that the board first authorize the city engineer to issue change order number 219 for the project to Sinanian Development as part of an agreed-to contract negotiation to close out the project. Mr. Kawaguchi on agenda item number 7.
Good morning, President James, board members. My name is Alan Kawaguchi. I'm the program manager for Proposition Q, which is the public safety bond. The city engineer is requesting that the authority to issue a global settlement change order for the Old Rampart Metro Station project in the amount of $879,080 to Sinanian Development. Some background on the project. I have a rendering of it. This project is it's a LEED Platinum building. It's received numerous awards such as the AIA Academy of Justice Citation Design Award. It received the AIA LA Chapter Design Award. It's received the ASCE Regional 9 Outstanding Sustainable Engineering Project. It's received also the ASCE Metropolitan Section Outstanding Sustainable Engineering, the ASCE LA Outstanding Project of the Year. Sustainable Project of the Year, and we're also going to be applying for the AIA Code Award, or Committee on Environmental Achievement, for it. This metro station was completed in March of 2016. It was 458 days behind schedule. The delay on the project was due to the nature of the project. The project was a renovation of a 52,761 square foot building. And as with any renovation, the contractor hit numerous amounts of unforeseen conditions, such as underground utilities, structural reinforcements in the superstructure, as well as in the foundation. As a result, the city took responsibility of 206 days of the delay at an overhead rate cost of $3,180, totaling $655,080. We also settled on $224,000 in dispute change orders, and those included items for redesign for slot cutting of the footings, ADA ramps, additional concrete, unilateral change orders that we took credit for, such as for pavement overlay, for a roofing system, and also for allowances. If the board approves the global settlement along with the already issued change orders, the total change order issued for the project will total $1,515,963, which is 9.65%, which is within the authorized contingency approval that the board gave the Bureau of Engineering back in June of 2013.
Okay.
Any questions?
Any questions? Commissioner Davis?
The prime is, what is it, Shenanian?
Sinanian Development.
Sinanian Development. And obviously this is a Prop Q project?
This is a Prop Q, yes it is.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Cinto?
Thank you, President James. Yeah, Alan, being out there at the grand opening, I think it was a year ago, the transformation of the old Rampart Station to this lead building is a great transformation, and we understand that once you pull it open and it's tenant improvements like that, you could find anything. So there were delays, and I think I just want to go to understand that Sinanian had their claim against us, and we negotiated to this level, correct?
That's correct. They put in an original claim to us for roughly about $2.4 million. The claim was divided up into time delay, loss of productivity, and then also change orders that they were in dispute of.
So we took that 2.4 and really just drilled down and working together. And they did good work. Can you talk a little bit about their work?
They did some excellent work in the building. If you ever come out and visit it, like I said, it wasn't a very easy construction. If you don't know how police stations are built, they're built like bunkers. They sit with roughly about 2 foot thick walls so that they can't be penetrated. The architect of record, Perkins and Wills, in order to introduce a lot of new light, had a slot cut in the top of the building. That was a pretty big achievement for them, but it did create other difficulties for the contractor in the way he was to implement how that cut was to be done. Same thing with when they went to reinforce the building. The steel wasn't the way that they had thought. The concrete had deteriorated. They had to do what they call a fiberglass wrap in order to create the strength back to it. So the building is back to its original strength that the police department actually requires it to be for any kind of a station.
Okay, so I think that, from where we were to where we are now, and being, 1.5 and change orders about 10%, I think it's appropriate for given the type of work and that building. It's a great facility moving forward. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything further? The main thing, Alan, I think this is a good resolution on this one. With the outstanding claims and the potential here, this is a good number for the city.
I think it is.
Any further questions? Is there a motion? Commissioner Cinto, I'll second. Any objection? Without objection, we will adopt agenda item number 7. Any issue sending 7 forthwith? We will send number 7 forthwith. Thank you. Agenda item number 8, tree removal, Bureau of Street Services, Council District 1, 815 and 825 West Adams Boulevard on St. James Park Place and St. James Park Side Sidewalk Repair Program. Recommending that the board find that the tree removal first classifies as operation, repair, and maintenance or minor alteration of existing street, sidewalk, and gutter involving negligible or no expansion of use beyond that previously existing and does not involve the removal of a scenic resource. 2, that the action is exempt under Article 3, Section 1, Class 1, Category 3, existing facilities, sidewalk repair, or maintenance of the City of Los Angeles Environmental Quality Act guidelines from 2002. And 3, that none of the exceptions to the use of a categorical exemption as set forth in Section 15300.2 of the state CEQA guidelines apply. And 2, review and approve this tree removal permit request for the removal of 7 carob and 5 Indian laurel fig trees for the reconstruction of an off-grade sidewalk. Tree replacements are required. Mr. Tyson on agenda item number 8. Mr. Tyson, before you start, I am going to mention something to you today. We've got the Bureau Director sitting here. You've heard this from our board before, but Nazario, one of the things I wanted you to know is the board appreciates the hard work of the Urban Forestry Division over the last particular 18 months to 2 years. As you know, as we have reformed tree removal policy in the city, primarily to increase the environmental notification with the partnership of the City Attorney's Office and your bureau. Mr. Tyson, in particular, has worked really hard to grow the process of tree removals with the environmental bar, if you will, watching us every step of the way, and we appreciate all the hard work. With that, Mr. Tyson, go ahead, sir.
President James, Commissioners, Bureau Representative, City Attorney, and Executive Officer. The Bureau of Engineering is the lead agency in identifying defective sidewalks at several locations throughout the City of Los Angeles as part of the Sidewalk Repair Program. Bureau of Engineering and its contractors are working in close collaboration with the Bureau of Street Services in addressing potential impacts to street trees adjacent to targeted locations. Mr. Joseph B., Bureau of Engineering representative, contacted the Bureau in reference to reconstruction of an off-grade sidewalk conditions at 815 and 825 West Adams Boulevard on the St. James Place and St. James Park sides. A Bureau arborist inspected the subject locations on August 29, 2016. The inspection revealed 5 carob trees at 815 West Adams Boulevard on the St. James Place side and 2 carob trees at the rear of the property on the St. James Park side, measuring between 20 and 26 inches in diameter by 25 to 35 feet in height. And at 825 West Adams Boulevard on the St. James Place side, there are 5 Indian laurel fig Ficus macrocarpa trees measuring 20 to 26 inches in diameter by 30 feet in height, growing in 4-foot tree wells. All the trees are in fair to poor condition and have outgrown the available planting space provided, causing the off-grade sidewalk conditions. The 5 Indian laurel fig trees are in a declining state and have dying foliage throughout their crowns. One of the carob trees has a fruiting body on the trunk, which signifies the presence of internal decay. The sidewalks are going to be removed and replaced due to uplift and severe disruption by the roots and root crowns of the subject trees. The required root pruning to allow the trees to remain would significantly and adversely affect the tree's health and the tree's structural integrity, leaving them potentially unstable. Jose Rodriguez, First Council District Office Representative, was informed of the tree removal request on May 5, 2017. Notice of the proposed tree removals were physically posted on the subject trees on August 29, 2017. Proposed tree removals were included in the Bureau of Street Services tree removal notification system, and the Community Forest Advisory Committee was also notified. All tree replacements comply with the Board of Public Works 2-to-1 tree replacement policy and shall be planted by the Office of Beautification or its contractor. There shall be 7 24-inch box-sized Brisbane box trees to be replanted at 2375 St. James Place, 3 24-inch box-sized camphor trees to be replanted at 825 West Adams Boulevard on the Scarf Street side, 3 24-inch box-sized crepe myrtle trees to be replanted at 2380 St. James Park, 2 24-inch box-sized camphor trees to be replanted at 815 West Adams Boulevard, 1 24-inch box-sized magnolia St. Mary's to be replanted at 2328 St. James Place, 5 24-inch box-sized Brisbane box trees to be replanted at 825 West Adams Boulevard on the St. James Place side, one 24-inch box-sized pink trumpet to be replanted at 815 West Adams Boulevard on the St. James Park side. 3 24-inch box-sized camphor trees to be replanted at 20 South St. James Park, and this will fulfill the 2-to-1, and there is 1 extra tree being planted. With that, I'm here to ask the board to consider the removal of these trees in order for these sidewalks to be repaired and made new and replant new trees.
Any questions on agenda item number 8? Any questions? Commissioner Cinto?
Yeah, I do, President James. Tim, thank you for this report. This is where trees and sidewalks coexist. And we just came from a sidewalk repair monthly meeting this morning. Gary and Julie Sauter were there leading it too, and it's really the balance. And so the uplift in the board reports, the documentation is excellent to show how this street is impassable in Council District 1. So basically, along with the rebate program, this sidewalk repair, this access issue, it will give access where there wasn't access before. And the 2-to-1 replacement is appropriate. It'll take some time for that canopy to regrow, but basically we're balancing access with our urban canopy, and that's the sort of the dance that we do on a continual basis. We will continue to do that, but I'm happy to see this one because of the extensive damage and, you know, forever how long this was, there was no access, and now there will be access, and that's an important part of our city. So thank you.
That's correct, Commissioner. The ficus trees are in a severe state of disruption. The carob trees, actually, you could see that someone put partial sidewalks around them, and I found a date on the sidewalk. It says 09, so it wasn't that long ago, and they're already disrupted again. So these trees having internal decay, already being root pruned, and being the size they are, and commensurate with the species is these trees become cavity ridden when they're about 35 years old. So these trees aren't trees that are ideal to keep and salvage, and they're not sustainable. So the only sustainable solution is to plant new trees.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you for the information, the background on that, Mr. Tyson. When you look at these are the sidewalks that make it into the news. I mean, you know, when they're the ones that are the most disruptive for access. When you look at these photos, the trees are spectacular in size, but there's an arc of life that you've described to it about them to us many times. So, as painful as it is to see these trees removed, it has to happen. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 8. Is there a second? Second, Commissioner Repenning. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 8. Any issues sending number 8 forthwith? We'll send number 8 forthwith. Thank you, Mr. Tyson.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 9, contract acceptance, Hyperion Treatment Plant, Service Water Facility, Southside Filter Installation. Recommending that the board accept the contract. Second, do not assess. Repeat, do not assess. J.F. Shea Construction Incorporated with a penalty in the amount of $289,748.60 for the unauthorized substitution of 1 bid-listed other business enterprise subcontractor. And third, instruct the Director, Office of Accounting, to release the remaining funds to the contractor for the reasons cited in the report. Ms. McGlinchey. I would expect that if the Bureau's recommendation had been to assess this penalty, we would have a speaker card from them. We do not today. Ms. McGlinchey, go ahead.
Okay, good morning. Linda McGlinchey, Bureau of Contract Administration. As you stated, we are recommending that the potential penalty in amount of $289,748.60 not be assessed J.F. Shea. This was a result of J.F. Shea bid listing Gerlich Mitchell, the manufacturer's representative for cloth media filters, for an amount totaling $2,897,486. What happened in this case is at the time bids came in, Gerlich Mitchell was the manufacturer's representative for Aqua Aerobics Systems, the company that was listed in the bid proposal documents as the manufacturer for the cloth media filters. Bids came in, the contract was awarded. After award, Aqua Aerobics had a change in policy, so they would not allow their manufacturers' representatives to sign contracts with companies for their products anymore. Instead, the manufacturer's representative would basically win the contract for Aqua Aerobics, but the contract would be signed directly with Aqua Aerobics. J.F. Shea, in this case, because of this change, had submitted Aqua Aerobics for approval. The Bureau of Contract Administration denied it since Aqua Aerobics was not the bid-listed subcontractor for this product. It appears that there had been perhaps some miscommunication on both sides. Ideally, what should have happened is BCA staff should have informed J.F. Shea that they needed to request a substitution of Gerlich Mitchell for with Aqua Aerobics due to these extenuating circumstances. That did not happen. So J.F. Shea ultimately got an approval from BCA for Aqua Aerobics care of Gerlich Mitchell. But the problem was there was no contract with Gerlich Mitchell. The payment went straight to Aqua Aerobics. It's our understanding, though we have no documentation of that, that Aqua Aerobics paid Gerlich Mitchell. Like I said, because of that miscommunication, the substitution wasn't requested nor approved, which is why we have that potential penalty. But given the unique circumstances, that is also why we are recommending that the penalty not be assessed.
This is not a situation, Ms. McGlinchey, where the taxpayer's out any money as a result of the circumstance, correct?
Correct. The specifications required the product to be purchased from Aqua Aerobics. Aqua Aerobics furnished the product and was paid. It just didn't go the way the bid proposal documents said it was going to go.
Okay. Commissioner Rivas?
I recognize Gerlich Mitchell from another, maybe a briefing you did for me on another item in the past. Are they always a manufacturer's representative?
No.
Okay, so that was the one that you told me. Okay, so when we receive the bids, we don't know if they're manufacturer's representative or they count as a manufacturer, right? We can't just say, oh, Gerlich Mitchell, that's a manufacturer's representative.
Correct. We have to look at their sub-bid proposal to the prime and sometimes ask for clarification. We do know at the time it's awarded, but as I said, in this case, Aqua Aerobics changed their policy with their manufacturers' representatives after award of the contract.
Oh, so in this case, if Aqua hadn't changed their policy, then Gerlich Mitchell would have been
utilized as
and
pledged.
it would have been okay with the Bureau.
Everything would have been fine.
Oh, okay, okay. No, it seems like it changes depending on the contract, and I know we've talked about that before, which I'm sure makes it difficult for your team to assess whether this counts or not.
Takes a little extra analysis, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivas. Anything further? Okay, is there a motion on number 9? By Commissioner Davis. I'll second it. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 9. Any issues sending number 9 forthwith? We will send number 9 forthwith. Agenda item number 10, Ms. McGlinchey, I see that you're here on that today as well. Council Districts 1, 4, 5, 9, 13, and 14. Contract acceptance, street lighting, pole painting, project unit 4. Recommending that the board accept the contract. Secondly, assess Everlast Builders Incorporated with a penalty in the amount of $2,655 for the unauthorized subcontractor substitutions of one bid-listed small business enterprise, emerging business enterprise subcontractor, and one bid-listed other business enterprise subcontractor. And 3, instruct the Director, Office of Accounting, to disencumber the recommended city penalty in the amount of $1,615 from the project fund and collect the remaining funds in the amount of $1,039.50, which I trust we'll be able to collect. Ms. McGlinchey, before you start, I should have done this earlier when Mr. Ledoux was still here. I started it with Mr. Tyson. This being the beginning of National Public Works Week, we have the benefit of the 5 general managers here this morning, as well as senior staff. Obviously, we've got the A team that are presenting today. It's so important to all of us and to the city, the presentations and the skill set that your staff brings to our meetings every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Today's just a great example of it. And Mr. Ledoux, of course, from the Bureau of Engineering, Gary, we have tough issues. Some people, half the room leaves unhappy in these issues sometimes, not always, but sometimes. But with Commissioner Cinto and with Jeff Ledoux, we've really had what looks like just a real nice pace that we've set of being able to work out some of these problems. The reason we continued items 3 and 4 was to work with Council District 14 to see what issues we can work out. So thanks to him. I'm sorry he wasn't here to hear me mention it. Ms. McGlinchey, Mr. Reamer, I've picked up the phone to call him personally to tell him how skilled you are in your just masterful understanding of the issues related to contract administration and the tough questions and answers when you've got arrows flying from all different directions when we have some of these bid protests. So you're in between these two. I wanted to mention it this morning. And Mr. Smith is sitting here as well with his just kind of the A team of being terrific and summarizing the issues that come before us. Ed, Ruben's not here this morning, but Ruben has board duty, obviously, and nothing slips by him, so we certainly appreciate it. With that, Ms. McGlinchey, go right ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Did I even call the item? Number 11, I'm sorry, number 10, contract. I did. Go ahead. Sorry.
So
taking president's privilege there for a moment. Go ahead.
So Everlast Builders bid listed Health Science Associates, who's a SBE EBE, to perform lead testing work totaling $22,365. Staff was able to verify that they performed $21,210 worth of work, which means that we could assess a potential penalty of $22,236.50, which is 10% of the bid listed subcontract amount. We informed the prime of this, asked if there were any extenuating circumstances or anything. They did not respond. So since there was a reduction, it was not approved, there's no explanation for it, we are recommending a penalty in this case of $1,155, which is the actual difference between the bid listed amount and the amount performed. The second subcontractor, the OBE, was Frazi Paint, who was bid listed for paint supply totaling $15,000. However, they did not supply any paint on this contract. We again informed the prime. The prime said that at the time there was confusion about whether or not they would continue to sell the coatings required for this project. However, they did not go through the process for a substitution, and therefore we are recommending, since they obtained the paint from someone other than the bid listed subcontractor, a penalty of $1,500. So the total penalty for these two subcontractors is $2,655.
Thank you, Ms. McGlinchey. Any questions on agenda item number 10? I don't have any questions either, and they didn't put in a speaker card. I figure they're going to follow along with this one. Commissioner Davis has made a motion on number 10, seconded by Commissioner Cinto. Any objection? With that objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 10. Any issue sending 10 forthwith? We will send number 10 forthwith. Agenda item number 11, bid extension, Channel 35 television studio relocation and Pico House seismic separation at 416 through 424 North Main Street, recommending that the board grant the request to extend the bid date from May 24, 2017 to June 28, 2017. Looks like about 5 weeks or so. And request that the city engineer advise all prospective bidders of the board's action by addendum. And Mahmoud, you will explain to us why we are doing this morning.
Good morning. Again, Mahmoud Karimzadeh, the Bureau of Engineering. The Channel 35, as you know, is going to be relocated to Merced Theater, a historical building, 19th century building. And the Pico House, which is the next building to it, actually gets seismically rehabilitated in a way to make a separation between the two buildings. So it's a very important, structurally very important work. Just want to mention that. And we are in bid and award phase, and we were first, the bid was due in March 15. Then we came before you and we extended to April 5th, I believe, and then we came again and asked for another extension, and we extended to May 28. Now, this is the third time, and it's very unusual. That's why I want to explain this to make sure that we are on a good side. The first extension is very normal. In a lot of projects, when we have a mandate to push project forward, and our goal was to award the construction by the end of this fiscal year. And that was a mandate from City Engineer and Mayor Office, and we wanted to prevail. And because of that, there's certain small adjustment at the end of the project were going to be done during bid and award. So it's very standard, basically practice to save 2 weeks. We added some weeks, and at the same time, we were working on the drawings. But then at that time, the structural engineers, which had met with building and safeties, plan check, and case managers throughout the project, about the very important structural issues. They made some assumptions, and at the end of the project, those assumptions were not as accurate or as the building and safety wanted to be. Basically, just in a nutshell, they gave some value to the old bricks, and the building and safety really didn't want it to have that. So they had to go through major changes right at that point, and because of their changes, which was done not very nicely fast, but then other works like mechanical equipment underneath the ceiling were affected by changing the beams and the thickness of the slabs. And because of that, they had to coordinate. So we had to come to your board and ask for second extension. Now the third extension is totally different. We are working on this, in this project is out to bid in our pre-qualified contractor list. There are 8 of them, and we're working with them. Many of you, all of you know what the market conditions is out there. Every contractors working on our cities, Los Angeles project are busy with something. And it's very difficult to recruit them to bid on our projects. We have been seeing this in a recent bid.
The market's hot right now.
Exactly.
Things are good.
For the Lincoln Heights pool, we received 9 bids. That was only 18 months ago. And now we're receiving 1 or 2 bids. Most projects is only 1 bid. So when we're working with the contractors, they actually asking us, they need more time. And we're working with them, try to provide them with information. They were so serious to providing with the written request. They want more time. And this is the pre-qualified contractor list. We know there are not many of them there. There are 2 of them there. Basically, we don't want to lose that bid. So this is an attempt to do everything we can in order to see reasonable participation from contractors. Now, why they're asking for more time is basically to bring subcontractors that provide them with competitive bid. And the Bureau and the Department of Public Works provide them with the process to add the subcontractors to the list through pre-qualified contractors participation. So in order to make that competitive, they need to add more subcontractors to their list, get their bid, and provide us with a bid for the whole project. That is important. If we don't get that, we don't see a good number. So we are already under siege by these market conditions, and this will further hamper our efforts. So we basically want to do everything we can in order to see more reasonable bid. That's why we're asking for another extension to June 28th.
It's fair to assume then, Mahmoud, that we got a better shot of getting a better bid for the city, meaning the market's hot right now, people are working, which is good. Sometimes in these circumstances, that means the bids are a little bit more expensive. But with this additional time, with their ability to go out and work the subcontracting community a bit, we have a chance for more competitive bids. Does that make sense?
Absolutely true. And not only that, the city engineer has instructed us to be actively involved with this effort. So we're not going to just give them a time and sit back. We're going to call these contractors to help them through the process, to basically make sure what we can do. Not only that, we having some workshops with them, with their subcontractors, with our consultant and sub-consultant. We're having a workshop in my office in order to go through whole drawings. Do you have any question? This is how this metal framing is, that's how the concrete is, basically going through details, the basic frame of the construction, to make sure the ambiguity is out of their bed crunching numbers.
Any other questions, Commissioner? Thank you for answering that, Mahmoud. I feel better about it. We'll start with Commissioner Davis, then go to Commissioner Jacinto.
Yeah, I would say that I'm glad to see the effort and the increase in motivation to achieve the performance goal, and for all the right reasons. The extension, I think, is something that ought to occur.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Jacinto?
Thank you. Mahmoud, this request is appropriate. You know, we have to take the time, first from the scope of work of understanding engineering in this iconic building, in this iconic part of Los Angeles. We don't want to be underestimating. So I think that the extra work that we're doing, the workshops, the charrettes, getting them in there to ensure that we're going to get the maximum number of good bids at this very difficult period is commensurate, it's appropriate. So thank you for taking the time to do this.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, Commissioner Rivas.
In the past, have you done workshops like this for projects where you didn't expect to get maybe more than one bid?
We did on another project, Rancho Cienego, which were bid through the Board of Recreation and Parks Commissioners, but is very recent. We recognize that the workshop could be done easier through pre-qualified contractor list, but now we're getting into this. We think that we can extend it also when we go bidding our projects out on the street for everybody. I think it's a very effective way to make sure our contractors who are bidding on the contract understand the drawings, because usually when they don't understand, they throw money at it in order to cover themselves. So if we take that out, we may see better bids. However, still we are understanding the conditions out there, the market conditions, and expecting to receive bids higher than usual.
So you are expecting them to be above this estimate?
Well, not that I don't hope,
yeah.
but we are going with a true understanding of the situation into this process.
Thank you. Anything further? Is there a motion on number 11 by Commissioner Jacinto, seconded by Commissioner Davis? Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 11. Any issue sending 11 forthwith? We'll send number 11 forthwith. One moment before we, Dr. Campos, have we cleared the desk?
Yes, you have.
Okay, before we adjourn, I'm going to take presidential privilege here on the first day of our National Public Works Week, frankly, just because I feel like it. I'm really lucky to be in this job with all of you. We're at the end of the first term of Mayor Garcetti's administration, starting the second term. So to my colleagues on the board, it's just a delight to work with you every day of the week, and the work that we do together makes a real difference. To the bureau heads, the general managers, thank you for the work that you all continue to do, and you've proved as experts in the nation in your respective fields in which you lead. Fernando Campos, our superstar executive officer, thank you for all that you do and will continue to do. Our general counsel, Ted Jordan, still here from the first day we were here, and we look forward to many more years with you. And I think we're here, everybody in the room is part of the Public Works family. Katina, thank you. We always enjoy you being here, and every morning I walk in, it's always greeted with a smile, and it's a great way to start the day. But I just wanted to tell you all that since it's all just us here right now, that we really appreciate the work that you all do. We know you all work hard. Everybody in this room is a fairly frequent presenter, and just so your bosses know, we just never have anybody that can't stand up there and answer the questions and make the presentations and shine for their bureau. It's really, really consistent. And 25 years of being a trial lawyer, I know the skill set and can recognize it, and we're lucky that so many folks in our bureaus have a wide range of expertise. So thank you, everybody. With that, I'll say that have a great week. We'll see you all during the week, and we are adjourned this morning.